Jock Myro here with Broadband Video. This is part 3 in our low-cost TriCaster-like box assembly video box that we're putting together. And we really make a lot of progress in this segment. I look back at the other two and was like, wow, I spent a lot of time digging around on that stuff, but we really get somewhere on this next with this next sequence you're about to see here. We do get all 3 Blackmagic Intensity Pro cards in the box. We get them running, troubleshoot a lot of the problems. I think one of the key things to keep in mind here in working with this stuff is that there are many different levels of settings for these cameras as you go through the box. So when you start thinking about adding a camera and setting the parameters for a camera, it's not like you can just you plug it in and go to Wirecast Pro and set the parameters. That's not going to work. You've got the actual for USB cameras. You've got to go into the actual USB camera itself and set the settings on that. For all the stuff for Blackmagic Intensity Pro, you have to preset in control panel in the computer sort of what the inputs are and what it's expecting and what the format is, and then you can go into Wirecast and say, okay, now do the same thing, and it'll find it and it'll make it work. If you just plug stuff in and you don't do the presetting work, nothing's going to work. Anyway, that's where we're at with this. So here we go with part 3 of the video box assembly. Enjoy. So here's the kind of thing that drives me crazy with this. You can see that if we just do a test of the webcam itself, that there it is, pointed over at the stuff over there, and that's all fine. There is the actual physical webcam sitting there, and it's pointing at that junk down there, and that's just fine. And yet when we fire up the Wirecast product, it can't seem to find it. So let's take a look at how that happens. Okay, so we're going to the Microsoft LifeCam. We know it's working. There's the image. Okay, so let's close that, and now let's go to Wirecast. And Wirecast will keep the settings from the previous thing. Yeah, it can't find a whole bunch. Oh, this is an old setting, so we need to start from a new file, new. Okay, yeah, no USB. There it is. No USB bandwidth. I got 10 buses in there. I don't know what it needs, but it's not finding it. Anyway, let's start with a fresh one. File. Let's go to new. Okay, so we're going to get rid of this old one back here that has all kinds of old stuff in it from before we put all these cards in. Okay, so we got that. And then we go, let's change the layout and turn everything on so we can see everything. Okay, now we can actually see everything. And there's good old Wirecast. And we got a blank shot. Now let's add some camera shots. So let's add the Microsoft LifeCam Cinema shot. And once it comes up with that blue thing, man, it never goes anywhere. And I don't understand. I mean, it's not like I'm on some wimpy machine here. I mean, this is a Core i7 with 16. Yeah, there it is. Now it's just boom. That's what you get from the webcam. So I don't understand why it's doing that. Let's add the Intensity Pro 1 shot, which will be this that we're. Oh, and there's the slide. There it is. No available USB bandwidth. There is only one device hooked into this entire thing using USB. You got me. We'll try to figure it out. And there's a list of all the stuff that's going on, all the buses that are available, camera unplugged. There's the LifeCam, high speed. They are connected. There's only one thing hooked up here and it doesn't work. So anyway, trouble in River City. We'll try to figure it all out. This seems to be working fine, bringing in the stuff with the from the Intensity Pro card, but once again the image is doubled up. So got our work cut out for us here. Well, the good news is we were able to get the webcam situation resolved so that all the webcams coming in, it looks like we'll be able to plug a bunch of them. I don't anticipate any big problem with that. I had to start Wirecast all over from the top again. It was pulling stuff from previous settings, and I had to go in and set the individual camera the individual web camera to HD or 720. These aren't the full HD cameras, but these are the 720s, and it worked just fine when I matched the settings coming into Wirecast. Now I was not so lucky with the Blackmagic Intensity Pro. With one of my other cameras. This is an older JVC that has component out and composite out, and I was unable to get the Blackmagic Intensity Pro to recognize either the component or the composite out from this particular camera. But this is a pretty old camera, one of the very first HD cameras out there. It does HD, DV, and all kinds of stuff, and it's pretty finicky. So I'm not totally surprised about that. The only real issue here is that the HD camera that I'm shooting this with gets the double image when coming out in component. So I'm going to have to get a mini HDMI cable and plug that in directly into the Blackmagic Intensity Pro and see if that doesn't work better. I got a funny feeling that will make things all better. And it may be the end of the JVCs, and I just got to get some more of these little HDMI cameras. Darn. So anyway, that's where we're at. Well, it's the next day, and we've been working on the system for a little while, and you can see that I'm zooming in on this, which is going in on the Wirecast. And remember, before I was getting an image over the top and the bottom. And what that turned out to be was a function of interlace versus progressive. And I just sort of assumed that progressive would be what this thing would want to use. Nothing could be farther from the truth. The setting that this seems to like the best is actually 1080 interlaced at 59.94 whatever. And it really seems to like that. It doesn't work at 60, and that may be a function of what this camera is doing. I don't think the actual changes in frame rate on this camera change the frame rate on the HDMI output. I'm not sure about that. By the way, we are working on a. Well, hang on, let me look at the top here. This is a Canon VIXA HFS20. But the guys at Blackmagic had heard of the problem before, and had of seeing two screens. So we got rid of that, and we have HDMI running in and out of the standard. And just so you can see it back here, I mean, this is such a clean setup, man. Boom, HDMI cable right in. Beautiful looking video. We're going to put some more cards in and continue along on this project. And there you have it. We now have 3 of the Blackmagic Intensity Pro cards in this in our video box here, and of course we have all the new USB connections. Seem to be working great. It says it has 10 USB buses now, and Wirecast actually sees all 3 of these cards individually. They actually all, I just plugged them each in one after another, and it recognized them, put drivers in, was happy as could be, and there it was. So that's pretty cool. Now we haven't tried it. We only have one HDMI camera, so basically I've tried each one individually. And the interesting thing is you can actually hot swap them in and out, and they come up on the screen. So that's pretty darn cool. Don't know if we can do that while I'm actually videotaping here, so we're not going to risk that. But after about it's taken about 2 days all told. We've got 10 USB buses and 3 Intensity Pro cards put in the video box, and now we'll put it all back together and move it back in the studio and see what kind of fun we can have with this.